noses, their hair buns. At first glance, the room could have been an industrial kitchen. There were gallons of coffee cans full of utensils and glasses, powdered creamer, sugar, spoons, and soda bottles on the table, huge metal freezers lining one wall, and deep sinks Guy made by hand using stones he collected from a nearby quarry. But the teapot sat next to a Bunsen burner, and the freezers were filled with grains, placentas, tumor samples, and dead mice. Plus, at least one duck Guy kept frozen in the lab for more than 20 years after a hunting trip, since it wouldn't fit in his freezer at home. Guy had lined one wall with cages full of rabbits, rats, and guinea pigs. On one side of the table where Mary sat after lunch, he built shelves holding cages full of mice. Mary always stared at them while she ate, just as she was doing when Guy walked into the lab carrying the pieces of Henrietta's cervix. "I made a sample in your cubicle," he told her. Mary pretended not to notice. "Not again," she thought, and kept eating her sandwich. "It can wait till I'm done." Mary knew she shouldn't wait. Every moment those flies out of the dish made it more likely they'd die. But she was tired of cell culture, tired of meticulously cutting away dead tissue like gristle from a steak, tired of having cells die after hours of work. Why bother? She thought. I hired Mary for her hands. She was fresh out of college with a physiology degree when her advisor sent her for an interview. Guy asked Mary to pick up a pen from the table and write a few sentences. "Now pick up that knife," he said. "Cut that piece of paper. Twirl this pipette." Mary didn't realize until months later that he'd been studying her hands, checking their dexterity and strength to see how they'd stand up to hours of delicate cutting, scraping, tweezing, and pipetting. By the time Henrietta walked into Hopkins, Mary was handling most of the tissue samples that came through the door, and so far, all samples from Colin's patients had died. At that point, there were many obstacles to growing cells successfully. For starters, no one knew exactly what nutrients they needed to survive, or how best to supply them. Many researchers, including the Guys, had been trying for years to develop the perfect culture medium, the liquid used for feeding cells. Recipes for Guy culture medium evolved constantly, and George and Margaret added and removed ingredients, searching for the perfect balance. But they all sounded like witches' brews: the plasma of chickens, puree of calf fetuses, special salts, and blood from human umbilical cords. George had rigged a bell and cable from the window of his lab across a courtyard to the Hopkins maternity ward, so nurses could ring any time a baby was born, and Margaret or Mary would run over and collect umbilical cord blood. The other ingredients weren't so easy to come by. George visited local slaughterhouses at least once a week to collect cow fetuses and chicken blood. He'd drive there in his rusted-out old Chevy, its left fender flapping against the pavement, shooting sparks. Well before dawn, in a run-down wooden building with a sawdust floor and wide gaps in the walls, Guy would grab a screaming chicken by the legs, yank it upside down from its cage, and wrestle it to its back on a butcher block. He'd hold its feet with one hand and pin its neck motionless to the wood with his elbow. With his free hand, he'd squirt the bird's chest with alcohol and then syringe a needle into the chicken's heart to draw blood. Then he'd stand the bird upright, saying, "Sorry, old fella," and put it back in its cage. Every once in a while, when a chicken dropped dead from the stress, George took it home so Margaret could fry it for dinner. Like many procedures in their lab, the Guy chicken bleeding technique.
Hello, thank you for viewing.
She worked out the method step by step, taught it to George, and wrote detailed instructions for the many other
So what I have
who wanted to learn it.
started here is my own DIY oregano oil. So I'm using organic oregano leaves. And then my oil of choice for the infusion is going to be organic avocado oil. Now this is the expeller pressed refined oil, and it is one of the most versatile oils. If you take a look on this side of the bottle, it will tell you here it is very good for hair and body care. So this is one of those oils that are good for topical uses. So this is definitely a good brand. I picked this one up from Sprouts Farmers Market. And what I'm going to do is use the double boiler method and heat the oil to start the infusion, and then I will let this sit for a couple of weeks to infuse, and I will strain it and put it into a pipette, and I'll definitely be taking this one orally just for overall health purposes. So yeah, that's my start of another infusion here. Thank you so much for watching.
Towering nearly a foot above her. If Margaret ever smiled, no one could have seen it through her ever-present